My best friend tried to steal my fiance and accidentally ruined his own life. I honestly thought I had the perfect life. I was engaged to the sweetest woman I had ever met. She was beautiful, funny, kind to everyone, and somehow still tolerated my terrible jokes. My best friend Jake had known me since we were kids, but the second I started dating her, something changed. At first it was little comments. He'd joke that I got lucky, or ask how someone like her ended up with someone like me. Everyone laughed because it sounded harmless, but after a while I realized he wasn't really joking. Every time she complimented me, he'd roll his eyes. Every time we posted a photo together, he'd make some weird comment about how she deserved better. Things got even stranger after I proposed. Jake suddenly wanted to hang out with us all the time. If we went out to dinner, he somehow appeared. If we went to a party, there he was. He even started messaging my fiance constantly. One day she showed me her phone and asked, "Is Jake always this weird?" The messages started innocent enough, but then they got ridiculous. He was sending her motivational quotes, shirtless gym selfies, and long paragraphs about how some people settle for the wrong person because they're afraid to follow their hearts. The man was acting like he was starring in a romance movie nobody asked for. We decided to see how far he'd take it. Instead of blocking him, my fiance played along just enough to keep him talking. Before long, it became part of our nightly routine. Almost every evening we'd sit together on the couch, scroll through his latest messages, look at whatever cringeworthy selfie he had sent that day, and listen to his dramatic voicemails on speaker. We'd laugh at how seriously he took himself and make fun of the ridiculous things he said. My fiance even started calling it the Jake Show, because every night there seemed to be a brand new episode. The funniest part was that while we were sitting there laughing at his messages and saving screenshots, Jake genuinely believed he was slowly winning her over. Jake became unbelievably confident. He started sending messages about how he could treat her better than I ever could. He told her she deserved a real man, and that he was just waiting for the right moment to rescue her from a terrible future. The funniest part was that my fiance was responding with things like, "Wow, that's deep and interesting perspective," and he thought he was winning. Meanwhile, we were sitting on the couch together eating popcorn and laughing at every message he sent. A few weeks later, Jake announced that he wanted to host a big engagement celebration for us. He acted like he was being supportive, but my fiance and I knew exactly what he was planning. We later found out through mutual friends that he intended to confess his feelings to her during the party and convince her to leave me in front of everyone. Apparently, he believed she had been secretly falling for him the entire time. The confidence this man had should honestly be studied by scientists. The night of the party finally arrived. Everyone was there, including our families and close friends. About halfway through the night, Jake stood up and tapped his glass for attention. He started giving a speech about true love and destiny, while staring directly at my fiance like he was auditioning for the world's worst romantic comedy. Then he dramatically turned toward her and said that some relationships were mistakes, and that deep down, she knew they belonged together. The room went completely silent. You could practically hear people's brains trying to process what was happening. Then came the twist. My fiancée smiled, pulled out her phone, and connected it to the speakers. One by one, every message Jake had sent appeared on a screen we had secretly set up. The room was suddenly filled with screenshots of his desperate flirting, shirtless selfies, and embarrassing attempts at sounding romantic. Then she played a recording of him bragging to another friend about how he was going to steal my fiancée and become the hero of the story. The expressions on everyone's faces were priceless. Jake looked like his soul had just left his body and taken a vacation. People started laughing before the recording had even finished. One of my cousins nearly fell out of his chair. My uncle laughed so hard he had to sit down. Even Jake's own brother was wiping tears from his eyes. Someone yelled, "Play the shirtless selfie part again," and the entire room lost it. The speech Jake had practiced for weeks turned into a public comedy show at his own expense. He tried explaining himself, but every sentence somehow made things worse. At one point, he claimed the messages were taken out of context, which was difficult to believe considering one literally said, "I can be the prince you deserve." Jake left the party looking absolutely defeated, and by the next morning, everyone had heard the story. For months afterward, people kept sending him random motivational quotes and shirtless gym photos as a joke. Someone even printed one of his messages onto a t-shirt and wore it to a barbecue. He became such a running joke that people would jokingly hide their girlfriends whenever he walked into a room. As for me and my fiancé, we got married a few months later and had an amazing wedding. The only thing missing was a best man. Apparently ours had been too busy trying to audition for the role of homewrecker and ended up becoming the punchline instead.